From frozen to outright confiscated, it's the latest twist in the money in this Game of Thrones playing out in the Desert Kingdom. Saudi Arabia's government will confiscate cash and other assets worth as much as $800 billion from the dozens of Saudi princes and big government leaders in their crackdown on alleged corruption in the country. And from the Mideast to the Far East, there are talks that China may make a bid for a 5% stake in Saudi Aramco. At current valuations, China's holding would be worth $100 billion. In a Fox Business exclusive, we bring in Rob Thummel. He's the portfolio manager for Tortoise Capital, which has about $16 billion in management for energy assets. Good to see you, sir. First, your gut reaction. We knew since last weekend that all these Saudi princes were being arrested. A lot of people said it was just a power grab, but it's also a money grab here. How, if you can, does that connect the dots to the price of oil or Saudi Aramco?
Yeah, so the power play happening in Saudi Arabia is very interesting. It seems very clear that Mohammed bin Salman is the crown prince. He will take over. How does that relate to the energy markets? Well, what we know now is that both Mohammed bin Salman and Vladimir Putin have both endorsed the extension of an OPEC production cut agreement. That's important for this reason. If we have a production cut agreement that's extended through the end of 2018, that means the global oil surplus that we have right now basically dissipates. It goes away. We no longer have it. And by the end of 2018, then we're in a much better position for the energy markets, less oil price volatility, which is really important and really sets up the energy sector very nicely for the years to come.
Okay. Let's start to get in detail here about oil prices. When I started to see that there was this fear factor in this Game of Thrones going on in Saudi Arabia, we started to hear people say, oh, wow, oil prices are going to jump because they usually jump with uncertainty or anytime there's any kind of political upheaval. Instead, they've either been flat or slightly lower. Where do you see oil in the medium term? I'm not going to say long term because who knows, right? But will it be $70? Will it be $40? Can you give us your medium term guess here?
Sure. So at Tortoise, we're still probably in the $55 to $65 medium-term range. No, you're right, Liz. There has been an increase in the geopolitical risk associated with oil prices. And what does that mean? Well, what it means is there's been an increase in the potential for oil supply disruption throughout the world for a lot of events, right? So we've got the Kurdistan referendum, right? You've got the decertification of Iran. You've got really a humanitarian crisis that's happening in Venezuela. And now this power play that's happening in Saudi Arabia. All those events actually increase the probability of some type of a supply disruption. And, we're operating in an oil market that really has no margin for error. And so that has potential for upside in oil prices, we think.
Your fund, and I find the name of it so very interesting because it talks about it is top rated, except I believe the performance isn't stellar. We see a lot of negatives over 3 months, 5 months, 1 year, 3 years. But why is it considered a 5-star? You've got a lot of oil names in here, pipelines, et cetera. Is it that it's fallen less than the others in your sphere?
Yeah, when you look at our Tortoise MLP and Pipeline Fund, the reason why it's 5-star rated, it simply just has had the best performance relative to all the other options in the energy category.
Exactly.
And that's why it's a 5-star fund. Energy in and of itself has been a sector that's been challenged, right? In the first half of the year was the worst performing sector in the S&P 500. You know what? We think there's a rebound ahead, right? In the second half of the year, energy is one of the top performing sectors of the S&P 500. If we can get oil prices stabilized like we think we've got, the energy sector is well suited to perform very well in the years to come.
Yeah, so it's. I just wanted to clarify for our viewers because they may say to me, Liz, why are you talking to this guy? He's a negative. You're just less worse, right? And that's why you get the 5-star. Good to see you, Rob.
Thanks, Liz.